Top story, pictures and shameful pictures that came from India's IT city today. It shamed us globally. It's been raining in Bangalore for the last 36 hours, and all claims of the Karnataka government and the city municipal body about being rain ready have been washed away in the last 36 hours. Take a look at the pictures and the most stunning pictures that have come to us from Bangalore. This is Varthur. This is where you're seeing that boats are out because, well, you can't see the roads. All you see is rivers. And then there is a tractor which is carrying some life support material there. So you have boats and tractors that had to be deployed today on the streets of Bangalore for rescue operations. But not the only extraordinary pictures that have come to us from Bangalore today. There has been more. Take a look at another set of pictures that have come into us. You're seeing the flooded streets, and you're seeing how commuters are struggling to get around as heavy rains have thrown life completely out of gear. This is Rainbow Colony, ladies and gentlemen, that you're seeing. And what are we seeing in these pictures? We are seeing a red Maruti car. I think it's a Maruti car. And it's completely drowned. And there are some people who are trying to pull it to safety or pull it to a drier area. But where will they pull it to? Entire Bangalore today resembling a lake where boats had to be bought out. Take a look at these pictures that you're getting from Bangalore. Okay, and do you recognize this? This is Hindustan Aeronautical Limited. This is that part of HAL that is making the Tejas light aircraft for India and India's military. And this is what it has been reduced to. These are pictures that are coming to us from outside the HAL facility in Bangalore. It's one of the iconic landmarks of Bangalore, and this is what that place is looking like. In fact, we've had people tweeting to say that probably we will need to fly the Tejas now out of the facility to try and get out of Bangalore or try and get from one place to another, because obviously no public transport is working, and you just saw a car. If anyone attempts to bring a car out in Bangalore, well, you've seen the situation. You're seeing the gentleman there with the cycle as well. So things not looking very good outside HAL. This is Whitefield, ladies and gentlemen. This is where a lot of the working population in Bangalore stays. Very aware, articulate citizens live in Whitefield. And these are the pictures that came to us from there. So you essentially have the bus stop that has been completely waterlogged. You're not seeing the picture very carefully of the waterlogging, because what citizens are trying to do right now is pull a bus out of the water. These pictures from Whitefield. I do believe that the bus did manage to sputter to life and carry people from place A to place B. But imagine a situation where even a bus has been waterlogged, forget a car. And this is a picture, and I'm going to get you an amp-up of this as well. This is a picture that was tweeted out by TV Mohandas Pai. Essentially, this is a local extremely upset and angry with the way Bangalore becomes every time it rains. The same thing had happened on August 30th when the city had turned into a massive lake. Today, the city is looking like an ocean. And this gentleman who is dressed up as Ganpati Bhagwan, and we know that Ganesh Chaturthi is currently underway in Maharashtra. You know what he's saying? He's talking about the fact that someone needs to be accountable. Essentially, he's saying that God, for some reason, decided to take away Puneet Rajkumar, the superstar. Instead, God should have punished everyone in the city, all the MLAs, all the municipality officials, all the MPs who are responsible today for the way Bangalore has become, for the pictures that Bangalore has been sending out today. So these are locals. This is one local who's dressed up and fuming at the inaction by authorities. And what he's saying today, maybe his words are a little harsh, but what he's saying today is what probably Bangalore is feeling. If you live in Bangalore, or even if you don't live in Bangalore actually, but if you have an opinion on what's going on in your city, do call us. Our numbers are flashing on your screens. Let me just put those numbers out for you. 022-6754. You can call us on 022-6754-9546. Please call us. We want to hear from you today. Let's go across to our reporter who's been tracking the story for us. Neha, thank you very much for joining us here at the top of Urban Debate. I can see that it's raining. You're holding an umbrella. Tell us where you are and just how bad things are. And could they get worse? Because, going by the pictures that have come out today, it doesn't look like things can get any more worse.
Well, that's a very pertinent question you've raised over there. Every time it rains in the city, this is exactly what the citizens question. Can it get any worse? And, today's, in fact, situation across the city is just a small depiction of what really happens when it rains in Bangalore. Well, we're reporting right now from Bellandur area of Bangalore. Even if I take another 5 steps further from where we're standing right now, it is going to be a very dangerous situation, to say the least. The water that you're seeing right now is of where it's accumulated inside a residential area. In fact, this happens to be the Sunny Brooks, villas in Bellandur area, right next to the Wipro campus, right next to several of the IT, in fact, the tech parks over here in the city. And the situation is so bad, to say the least, that this is, in fact, considered to be one of the so-called posh areas of Bangalore, which was constructed relatively more recently. We spoke to several residents of this area, and just to commute, a short stretch of just about 50 meters from there, they have to use tractors, they have to use boats. In fact, a little while earlier, when we were reporting from here earlier in the evening, when it wasn't raining as bad, we had to take a boat along with the teams just to get through to even speak to the residents. That's how bad the situation is. And even right now, as we're reporting from this area, what you can actually see on, in fact, around me rather, is just heavy rains. This remains the situation, in fact, pretty much across the city. Just a good 100 meters, less than 100 meters away from here is the main campus of Wipro as well, one of the biggest tech parks, one of the biggest IT companies. We've been hearing, several IT companies complain of losses that they've faced to the tune of hundreds of crores. We've been seeing false promises coming in from the government, and despite that, even as today, channels, the media, in fact, continues to highlight the plight of the citizens. As we stand here today, in these heavy rains, reporting, the situation on ground, unfortunately, remains the same, with MLAs, with local representatives, continuing to make the promises. In fact, if I can show you right now a quick visual of this. There's someone here who's come down to make a delivery, and you can see how he's contemplating twice. He's absolutely clueless how he's going to wade through this water to go ahead, get to the residential area and even make that delivery. Well, a delivery at this point in time for the residents still seems to be a privilege. We're talking about senior citizens. We brought visuals earlier. In case of an emergency, we're going to be seeing them spending at least a good 7 to 8 minutes just to get out of that residential complex onto the main road, which again, I'd like to ask my video journalist Santosh to show you. The main Sarjapura Road again, is waterlogged, and this is the main access point to several important areas. You can clearly see how people are struggling at this point in time, and it's nothing but just a sheer mess out here in the city. And we'll really have to wait and see. A lot of tall promises that have come in from the government, from the Bommai government. We'll have to wait and see when these are actually fulfilled on ground. Back to you.
Neha, do stay on with us. I want to come back to you in just a bit as well. But let's just put out those pictures of the traffic jam that Bangalore is currently seeing. Where Neha is, thankfully, traffic was moving. We saw that in the pictures that came in. But these are a set of pictures that have come to us from another part of the city. And that's what the traffic situation is looking like right now. In fact, on August 30th, there were 5-hour traffic jams because of which IT companies said they lost some 225 crore rupees. We'll come to that in just a bit. But Harish Bijoor is a brand guru and he's joining us on the broadcast. He is very importantly a Bangalore citizen. Mr. Bijoor, thank you very much for your time here on Mirror Now. We are seeing pictures of the traffic jam. There is traffic that is moving, but very, very slowly. Through the day, we have seen pictures that would shame any global city. What's been going through your mind as you've been seeing television channels broadcast these pictures? A sense of deja vu and a sense that kabhi kuch badlega nahi, nothing ever changes?
Yeah, I think it's a sad sight today. Bangalore is a massive meme today. And, our tech parks are essentially water parks. And that's exactly what's happened to many of our residences where, the cars are down. Well, in a different manner of speaking, this is going to be big business for people who repair cars and put cars back on the streets, our motorcycles back on the streets. I think big city, big problem, bad planning, and I think bad planning is coming to roost today, and that's exactly the kind of visuals you and I are seeing.
Mr. Bijoor, this is not, as I said, the first time we are seeing these pictures this year. We've seen them on August 30th as well, when the IT companies finally had to write to the government saying that we have incurred a loss of 225 crores. We'll talk about that in just a bit. But I want to ask you, there are IT companies that have been threatening to move out of Bangalore. Do you see that happening because of the complete collapse in urban infrastructure, because of what happens every time it rains in Bangalore?
It all depends on what other choices are available. Most of the time, an IT company which has come into Bangalore is locked into Bangalore. Maybe new investments, people will rethink. People will say, maybe I don't want to be in those areas which were lakes originally. Because when I see the water situation today, it can be mapped. And let me assure you that wherever water is clogged and wherever water is reaching are the low-lying areas. And these were lake beds. Many of them were lake beds or lake beds surrounding areas. Now, when you actually go and build within lake beds, outside lake beds, clogging together the arteries that take water out, which include our Raja Kaluways. We have a huge network of our Raja Kaluways, which are the drainage system of the city, which is meant to be a clean Raja Kaluway. Buildings, constructions come on them, blockages, etc. This is what happens. We have actually written a self-fulfilling prophecy for Bengaluru, which is coming true today. Whether people are going to move out of the city, I don't think that'll happen, because people are quite comfortable in the city. Bengaluru is a completely different ecosystem to be within. It is a magnet city for so many reasons. People will crib, people will go through the trouble, but people will stay. And that is the problem. We don't talk enough about this problem after the problem is over, till it comes back again.
So why does the problem keep coming back? Bangalore is a city that provides IT solutions to the entire world, and they can't fix the flooding problem. It happens, as I said, every year.
Well,
and what does this do for the image of the city?
Yeah, it's terrible for the image of the city, because I keep saying, we are terrific in our software, but terrible with our hardware. The software ecosystem of the city is brilliant, and we work at cutting edge technologies. We work on the metaverse, the IoT, bleeding edge stuff. But the point is, when it comes to hardware, which belongs to some other terrain, which is to say there's a governance structure that needs to put hardware together, and we depend on that governance structure. That's where we tend to fault. Okay. So I think, it's about not battling out the small battle. We have to, take the bull by the horns and battle the big war and say that, hey, we're going to sort it out once and for all. If not, give us 6, 7, 8 months, it'll come back.
Okay. I'm fairly certain it'll come back. Mr. Bijoor, thank you very much for joining us. At the Outer Ring Road, there are many IT companies that are located, and the Outer Ring Road Companies Association has actually now written a letter to Karnataka's Chief Minister saying, and they've made an estimation, they are saying that they have suffered a collective loss of 225 crore rupees on one day when it rained, that is the 30th of August. This happened, as I said, on 30th August. The letter is fairly strongly worded. The Companies Association has called out Bangalore's crumbling infrastructure and how it is an impediment to the city's growth. We are putting out, excerpts of the letter on your screen as well. Also going out to the person who has signed down to that letter, Mr. Krishna Kumar. He is the GM of... All right. I believe we have lost the connection to him, possibly because it has started raining heavily in India's IT city again. What happens in a case like this, ladies and gentlemen, is that sometimes our signals tend to get ruined as well. So we'll try and get him on in just a bit. But, there is something else that is coming. Now, you can ask us, where is the accountability? Who's to be blamed? Well, everyone is to be blamed. Yes, the politicians are to be blamed. Yes, the civic body is to be blamed. We were told that in this financial year itself, around 8,000 crore rupees was allocated to Bangalore for its urban infrastructure, and some 1,600 crore rupees was spent or were to be spent just in fixing and cleaning storm water drains. Now, if storm water drains are fixed and they are not encroached upon, the water, that will be an outlet for the water. You will not see water on the streets as we are doing right now. All right. This is what we have been told. We have been told in the last 5 years, 111 crore rupees, ladies and gentlemen, 111 crore rupees in the last 5 years have been spent by the Bangalore civic body just to clean storm water drains. Now, where is this money going? This very clearly is going down the drain. Now, listen to the reasoning that Karnataka's minister, and he's the revenue minister, Mr. R. Ashok, is giving as far as Bangalore's flooding is concerned. You'll hear him in just a bit. He's speaking to Neha Hebale, and when Neha Hebale asked him why Bangalore gets flooded every time it rains, he says, and this is his logic, he says, well, the IT city has not seen a summer in 4 years, that it rains so heavily that we've not seen summers in 4 years. And because we have not seen summers, the evaporation of water becomes very tough. Now, we have a fact check for the minister, but before we do that reality check for him, a rain check for him there, I want you to first listen to what the minister has said.
I'd like to ask you, every time it rains in Bangalore, we see some problem or the other. Some areas see waterlogging, some areas, are completely flooded. And we're seeing that the government has made a lot of promises saying, we'll do this and we'll do that to get rid of this. But so far, sir, even today we saw how after the cloudburst last night, many areas are flooded. Drinking water is also going to be affected is what the government is saying now, sir.
Yeah, because last 30, 40 years, this is the first time. Continuously 4 years regular rain. In Bengaluru, we are not seen a summer from last 4 years. No summer. Very air conditioned, only 18 to 28 degrees within that only Bangalore. So the problem is now the encroachments. All the government saying the encroachment, but nobody will demolish the encroachment. Many IT sectors. Last 3 days back, CM also visited in IT sector.
For 3 years, they've been seeing the same flooding. And they say that, especially, the IT, like you mentioned, so they have even written a letter saying that we have faced losses worth 225 crores almost because of this. So they are now, blaming the government, saying it's election year, which is why now all this work is being carried out.
No, not 3 years. From 30 years, it's the same. You see any newspaper and the channel. From last 30 years, it is happening. From last three years, we are doing something. See, Maleshwara, flooding last year. This year, no flooding. So, our Padmanabh Nagara, flooded last year. This year, no. Wherever possible, we are clearing that. Now, new area is identified now, the eastern part. So that's also within 2-3 months we will clear. So we are given the money. Every government they are saying we are clearing, we are doing nothing. No, we are given the money. 8,000 crores we are given for the development of Bangalore, and the stormwater drain we are giving 1,600 crores. That also helps to the flood in Bangalore. That is also clear.